bless you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the Builder's Journey. I am your presenter, Akeelia Thompson. As always, it is a privilege and a pleasure to share time and space with you. Today, we're looking at don't let your haters distract you. Yesterday, we looked at doing the work God has called us. What are the different types of work? We look at the characteristics, laying the foundation, presenting it all before God. And today, we're looking at don't let your haters distract you, because the reality is God has given you a vision, a mission, a business, your purpose to tap into. But there's always going to be opposition. And so we have to know that this is a key part. If you're on the journey and maybe nobody comes to throw a stone or to mock you or to laugh, look around and consider if you're on the right journey. Because anything good that the Lord has called you to do, we understand that the enemy will try to find some way to come and disrupt the progress. And it's important for us to know that God has called us to do good, great, and wonderful things, and we have to keep our eyes set on Him. Our base scripture for today is Nehemiah 2 verse 19. But before I even get into that, we want to talk about the previous chapters, because chapter 3, Nehemiah would have shared up the work or assigned the work rather to the respective persons who were with him. Those are the priests and the noblemen, and they're doing the work, digging out the wall, laying the timber and everything else, getting the water. Somebody's working on this side, somebody's working on that side, and the work is going on. But as they're working, here comes Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem, and they're saying, when we heard about this thing, it's time for us to laugh at Nehemiah and the men. It's time for us to despise them. What is this thing that you are doing, they asked. Are you planning to rebel against the king? Because sometimes people just hear about something that you're planning to do. They don't know anything about you. They don't know anything about the covenant that God has placed on your life. But they just come up with an assumption. Maybe they know a little bit about your past and they've written you off based on man's standards or society's standards. Nothing good can come out of you. But who are they? Do they know the revelation that you have? Do they know the revelation that Nehemiah had with God when he repented and cried and mourned and went down in prayer and fasting to gain favor in front of the king? So who are these uncircumcised Philistines to come and to mock us and to laugh and to despise us, to say, what are you doing? Who will sponsor that idea? Who will sponsor that vision? That business won't go anywhere. This purpose thing that you're doing, this journey that you're going on, it won't yield any results. Who are these people who are speaking ill of us in this season and in this time? Because this is the year of supernatural grace, divine favor, and speed. And I believe that God has given us so much. When I was at a critical point in my life, I was sharing this with my client yesterday, and I asked God what I should do. He said that you have everything that you need. So I have equipped you. God said to Moses, Moses, what is that in your hand? He said, that's a rod. He said, use it. So in this season, we are going to rebuild the walls. We're going to build the walls afresh, because He has given us so much and we will not let it go to waste in this season. In the New International Version, it says opposition to the rebuilding. And in my Bible, it says progress in spite of opposition. So we're moving forward. We will not be silent. We will not be distracted by the enemies. And I just want to break down chapter 4, because chapter 4 is when they really get into it, when they realize that the work has begun and things are moving. They sat down in their little corner, and this is the Sanballat and the Tobiah and everybody else who was there. And they said, when Sanballat, this is chapter 4 verse 1, when Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, Nehemiah is recounting his experience, he became angry and greatly incensed. You are doing something and people are getting angry about it. Why? The good work that you are doing, why is it irritating the demons that are in people? You're minding your business. You're not asking them for help. You're not asking them for the resources. They're just standing bystanders to the progress and to the work that God is doing in your life, in your ministry, in your business, and you're getting angry. Why? Who told you not to go and do your work instead of joining hands and hearts and realizing that God has deposited so many gifts in you and I so we can put them to good use and yield good results? As we shared in the first episode, God said, if any man lacks knowledge or lacks wisdom, let him ask of me in faith and I'll freely give it to him. Without bias, without faults, I'm not looking at anything else. If you want wisdom, come to me, ask me, I'll give it to you. So why are people getting angry when we're making progress? Do they know our stories? Do they know what we had to overcome to reach where we are today? Why are you getting angry? That's what I'm asking. Why are you getting angry? He ridiculed the Jews, and in the presence of his associates and the army of Samaria, he said, what are those feeble Jews doing? Will they restore their wall? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they finish in a day? Can they bring the stones back to life from those heaps of rubble, burnt as they are? So he's asking a lot of questions, and I'm sure people ask a lot of questions about you and I. What are those feeble Jews doing, discrediting one's character and your capabilities, your cognitive capabilities to do and to become and to tap into that position? Who are you? Are you qualified? Do you have a high school diploma? Do you have a degree? Who let you in through the gate? Who ordained you to be in that capacity that you're in? Who are these feeble Jews? Will they restore the wall? See Nehemiah rebuilding the wall, will they restore the wall? So they're questioning your capabilities. Are you fit for that position? Can you do the job well? Can you run that business well? Are you able to put in the systems, the strategies, and the structures to do it well? Will you finish in a day? Will you be fired next month or next week? Can you bring those stones back to life? And yes, we can, Sambalat, because the Bible tells us that the Lord spoke to his prophet and he said, speak to the dry bones so that they can live again. So yes, we have the capabilities, the skills, and everything else to rebuild the wall. Then the rest of them come in to buy What are they building? Even a fox climbing up on it can break down the wall. They're discrediting your work. They're saying that what you're doing is not important. What you're doing, you don't have the resources to do that. What you're doing, you need further training to do that. But can I tell you that God will qualify the called? All we need to do is to give him more yes, to step into that. And he will stand with you and equip you as you go along to build up the skills and the capabilities to do what you need to do. And Nehemiah prayed and he said, God, turn back their insults on their own head. Give them over as plunder in a land of captivity. Do not cover up their guilt or blot out their sins from your sight, for they have thrown insults in the face of the builders. And so as you're doing what you're doing, you need to stay prayed up because the oppositions will come. So we rebuilt the wall till all of it reached half its height, for the people worked with all their heart. Do not be disheartened, do not be discouraged. Joshua 1 verse 9 comes to me ever so often. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, because the Lord thy God is with you wheresoever you shall go. Whatever you're doing in this season, as long as you know that this is what the Lord has called you to do, do it with all of your heart. Do it with faith, do it in love, do it in excellence, and do it with all of your heart. And when they saw that we were rebuilding the wall, this is Nehemiah talking in verse 7 through to 9, and we were closing up the gaps, they were very angry. So in the beginning, they were just angry when they thought that everything was a joke. Now they're very angry. Have you ever been on the job and out of the blues? You're just doing the stuff, you're just trying to learn the ropes, you're not even, very versed in what you need to do as yet. But somebody, you just came in just 2 weeks on the job, not even 1 month into your probationary period, but somebody's very angry. Who is this new girl? Who is this new man on the block? Why do you have favor? And when anger stirs up in them, they become a vessel for the enemy to use And the enemy started working on their hearts, and they started to plot together to fight against Jerusalem and to stir up trouble against it. Now, can you imagine the time that it takes to plot against somebody? It means that you must go in depth. You have to exert brain power, you have to put in manpower, and you also have to put in resources to plot against somebody. Imagine if they took that energy, your haters, if they took that energy to come up with something for themselves. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Because the same energy that we have to use to rebuild the wall is the same energy that they have to use to fight against us. So you see, if we're not focused on what we need to do in the first place, this is where we will have misaligned priorities. But while they're plotting, Nehemiah said, verse 9, but we prayed to our God and posted a guard day and night to meet this threat. They didn't know. And while they're doing that, the people in Judah, this is the people started talking now, the strength of the laborers is giving out, and there's so much rubble that we cannot rebuild the wall. So you have those, these are called the Debbie Downers or the Debbie Doubters, who will come and be like, boy, this look hard, You can't do it, man, but yeah, sure. I said, no, we want to ensure that we don't have those persons around us in our space. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. I am not telling you that it won't be hard at different points in times. I'm not telling you that you won't be discouraged, but even in that, we have the one who will strengthen us to go through every obstacle, the one who will renew us with new mercies each morning, and so we can do it. And do not become discouraged, do not become afraid. And this is very powerful. I pray that even I can implement this in my life, because here is Nehemiah talking to the people. Do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord who is great and awesome. He will fight for your families, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes. Everybody is covered in this season. Everybody is covered. Don't be afraid of them. God will show us what they plan to do. And when the enemy heard that we were aware of their plot, that God had frustrated their plans, we all return and continue to work. So when the enemy comes to frustrate you, when the haters come to frustrate you, you will leave it in the palm of the one who is above and continue to do your work. So the opposition is coming, or it has come. But the key thing that we need to keep in mind is that the work does not stop. We continue to work. We put in systems and measures to mitigate. We do our research to ensure that we're in the right, but we continue to work. From that day, half of the men, they stood guard, the other half will work. We got equipped. Get what you need to do. They got their spears, their shields, their bows, their armor. They were ready for war, but we still continue the work because nothing will stop us to complete the work. Remember that the king lent his resources to Nehemiah. So he can't go back and have an incomplete wall. That's not the reason why the king gave him permission to leave where he was in his position as the cupbearer. He must complete the wall in excellence. Whenever we hear the sound, our people will fight for us. And coming down into verse 23, Nehemiah said, neither I nor my brothers nor my men nor the guards with me took off their clothes. Each had his weapon, even when he went for water. So we're going to stay alert. We're going to look out for the detractors. We're going to look out for things that are wasting our times. We're going to look out for things that the enemy will put in place to distract us, because sometimes it can be people, it can be things, it can come in so many forms. It can be news that we just received, but we're going to continue. But the most critical thing that I wanted to take note is that the distraction did not stop there, because when we come over into chapter 6, when Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem, when they heard about, that Nehemiah was preparing for them, they say, okay, we can't fight them head on, so let's come up with another strategy. And they said, come, let's meet together in the village, in the valley. That is where they were planning to harm Nehemiah. And they said, let us send messengers to Nehemiah. And Nehemiah responded to them and he said, I am doing important work. I cannot come down. should the work cease while I leave it and go down for you? 4 times they sent me the same proposal and I gave them the same reply. I am doing an important work. I can't come down. So this is an important note to us, that the enemy will not distract us once, twice, thrice, but he'll come 4 times, even the 5th time, because the 5th time they sent a letter because they wanted to look legit. And they sent a false prophet now to distract Nehemiah. But Nehemiah said, I discerned that this prophet, God never sent him with no message, forgive me. So he stayed on the wall and continued his work. When he came with the letter, that's the prophet now, to ask about the rumors, Nehemiah answered him wisely. He said, there is nothing to these rumors you are spreading. You are inventing them in your own mind. For they were all trying to intimidate us, saying they will drop their hands from the work and it will never be finished. So when people can't stop you in the initial stages and they see that you're working now, they see that you're making progress, they say, okay, we're going to stop you from starting, but we can get in there to stop you from finishing. So we can't stop you from starting, but let us do our utmost best to stop you from completing the work that God has called you to do. It's important for us to know who we are, to know whose we are, to know who sent us on this mission, who is our backing, who is our sponsor, our divine sponsor, and understand that in spite of what they're doing, they can't stop us. In spite of what they're doing, they can't stop us, because we need to complete this wall. Not only do we need to complete the wall, we need to complete it well. So my charge to you is, do not let your enemies, your haters, distract you in this season. Don't let your haters distract you. He has given you a good work. He has given you that business idea. He has given you the strategies, the resources, the influence, the destiny helpers. Don't let your enemies, your haters, distract you in this season. This is the word, and we wrap up tomorrow. Tomorrow we're talking about the wall, completing the wall, finishing that good work. And I pray that the Lord will be with you. I pray that in this season, whatever you put your hands and hearts to in this season, that God will give you the strength and the courage to continue working. Keep your hands on the wall. We're going to work. This is a prophetic word to me in this season, and it is a word to you. We are going to continue doing that work. We're staying on the wall. We're not coming down for anyone or for anything until that wall is completed. We're going to do the work that He has called us to do in this season and beyond. God bless you. See you tomorrow, same time, same place.